There is.
There is. If you look at the elevator.
It's saying where you are, not a sign.
It says
out
6th
there.
floor.
I found the sign. That was it.
There's a sign down there that says Republican Texas meeting, 6th floor.
Right. I came to the 6th floor. I didn't find you.
Well, they gotta have a little error for this.
There was
room.
nothing saying go this way, that way, what the number
That's true,
is.
that's
Hey,
true. But that's okay.
He got you.
Yeah, we got you.
it takes rookies like me to wake you guys up.
Right. Because it's you know what it is everybody's ignorant.
I know it.
We're all ignorant.
I know it.
You know what ignorance is? The
Ignorance.
root word of ignorance is ignore.
Yeah. That's
The main thing you don't want to be stupid. It's okay to be ignorant.
yeah. Well, everybody's stupid.
Yeah, that's not good. Everybody's stupid.
I mean, that's a fact.
Well, it's all relative.
It's
It's all relative.
well.
Stupid
It's
is.
that we
What's that?
don't-
What Forrest Gump say? Stupid is, stupid was, or something.
Stupid is as stupid does.
Yes, remember you used to say that.
Actions speak louder than words.
That's what gets us in trouble. We have answers to everything. But we really don't have answers to nothing. We just think we do.
Should we try?
Oh, that's all we can do.
All we do is say, I'm
Hey,
not sure if this is correct, but
to
this is what I
learn-
think.
To learn, you have to make mistakes. Mistakes are good. Mistakes aren't bad. Mistakes are right on. They teach you what to do, how to do it, so you don't make mistakes again and again and again. Mistakes are powerful. Powerful solution.
Do you have anything that you can say is 100% proof?
Nothing.
Really, at the end of the day, our problems are because a bunch of pirates have taken over the government. And they're pirates, they're thieves.
Well, but I wouldn't say they've taken over the government. They've taken over people everywhere that aren't.
You're right, it's all an illusion.
It's just, yes, government is one faction of it, one small faction. It's pretty well,
The scriptures say it, have eyes and will not see, have ears and will not hear.
Yeah. But we're here to learn. That's what's in my book. The last page, most important thing, the reason we're here. Let me read that.
Okay, here it is. You get ready to read.
There we go. Get started.
Is this what you're going to use for the city council?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But it all depends on how it goes here. There are many variables. You can't say how it is.
It says we get poor connection. This is supposed to be a screaming fast line.
Go ahead and read. I'm interested.
But
All I can tell you one thing's for sure, that I don't know, that I don't know, that I don't know.
and I don't know too.
That's what Catman always says.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
That's right. But I know we're all here right now, this moment.
But are we physical?
that.
Are we physical?
So we don't have enough words to explain everything we're saying. We use one word.
I know. But
to
are
say
you really? Is that really you there?
No, I am THEYOU, one word.
But you're
you.
clunks of vibrating atoms, clusters.
No, that is not who you are. You're
Okay.
not, because you're always cutting your hair, cutting your fingernails.
Well, yeah, but that's the physical part of it.
The physical, that's what I'm saying. That's me, is the physical. But it's not me. THEYOU, the you is the part that's not physical, that is you.
Well, that's called consciousness. We were. Do you know? Let me ask you this: do you know that when you think it comes from here, or you think it comes from somewhere else?
Oh, it comes from a combination.
Where's it come from?
There's no one place that you can't say that.
It's up there,
No,
right, Glenn?
no.
What?
when you think it's up here that you get it.
No.
Sorry?
Okay,
No.
the other day you
Up
said
here.
it's not in your brain.
Up
Yeah, your
here,
memories aren't kept in your
Yeah.
up here is waiting for us to learn. The reason we're here, up there wants us to learn. And they know the only way we will learn is for us to do it ourselves and not to be told how to learn. Learning isn't, it depends on what the person, that's what we're being analyzed, we're being inspected, or whatever you want to put, whatever words you want to use. And I'm correct 100% and I'm wrong 100%. We don't know where we stand.
But did you have a life review where they said they wanted you to come here and experiment and see what it's like?
Who?
Your counsel.
My counsel doesn't say anything to me.
Well, did you ever have a life review?
My counsel,
This is your first life?
no, it has nothing to do with that.
Oh, okay.
You've got to understand, we do not know. That's what's hard to understand. We do not know what we're doing, what's going on.
Oh no. Well,
Now, you know we're in the meeting,
we're having an experience right now.
of course, but that doesn't mean we know. It means we're having an experience, and that's all we're going to have is an experience.
And you're a reflection of light, and I can see you.
Yeah, you can see the atom, not the you, T-H-U.
No, I'm seeing a reflection of clusters of the
You can
atoms
see.
that's over there vibrating.
Right, and that is what is not you. That's just where your body, where the you stays.
Right, but no, you stay more in one location, don't you?
What?
Aren't you multidimensional?
No.
You think you're just right there?
Oh, I am where my body is.
But you're not anywhere else?
No.
Oh, come on, Bill.
Now wait,
Give me
now
that.
wait. We're here to develop and to be moved to some place. We don't know. What you're saying,
Wherever you want to.
what you're saying is that you know. You don't know.
But I can say that I think I think that.
Yeah, no, you can say you believe. Believe is the word to use.
We're in some deep.
But we do believe, but we do not know.
Is that hot cocoa there?
We don't even know if we believe.
They just
We
think
believe,
they know.
well,
They just hope they know.
you believe you're here right now. You believe you're here. That's the only thing, because we don't have the words to cover everything we're discussing. We're not able to
All
do it
right.
because we don't have the words.
I saw that there and I was thinking, well, I don't
So
know.
what you say is
I might not be able to
that
go
we
sleep tonight.
don't know anything 100%.
Absolutely.
So you don't know 100% that you're going to go to heaven after you die.
No.
He didn't know
no
for sure.
idea.
You hear me?
Now,
He don't know for sure.
now
If
wait,
he dies,
wait,
he goes to
wait,
heaven.
wait. I don't know,
Maybe I'm going
but I
there.
believe. Now there's a big difference between knowing and believing. Now I believe we're here. I know we're here because we're talking. We're right here. You can't get any closer than that. But that's about all you know is that we're here now.
But you don't know what happens to you if your body were to stop.
No.
Okay, but he knows for sure where he goes.
Well, that's fine. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
That's why it's not knowing, because everybody knows what they believe, and he believes that.
He believes 100%, right? Nelson? He's 100%. Not many people will say 100%
What?
that they know where they're going when they
It
die.
doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't. People can say whatever they want, but that's believing. That's not knowing. I didn't know the day I was in my wreck.
Right.
Car wreck. I had no idea. Nothing.
I understand.
It was gone.
Well, that's why I was telling Nelson.
And then I came back 30 days later, or actually
Yeah.
20 days later.
Where were you during that time that you didn't know where you were?
I had no idea. How would I know if I didn't know what I was, what I was doing?
He was low and
I'm
land.
I'm kidding you around a little bit, right? You know I'm kidding you.
Well,
Close this door.
that's what life is.
Peace and quiet
Kidding
out there.
Right.
It's starting to be a ruckus in here.
We're talking about life after death.
Went to the wrong room. There was like 20 people in that other room.
Yes, sir.
Where were we on that declaration of metals?
We are the private down for
Probably listening in many cases of benefits, transporting.
We'll start there. That's a guarantee that everybody can buy.
Transporting us beyond seas is talking about the minor estate, in my opinion, although you had a different opinion.
What do you think my difference is?
Well, I told you that was my opinion, and you had something different. I can't remember now. I've slept a couple times. What's
Can you get today's date so the
today
audience will know?
is the 5th of March, 2025. It's Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. It's a little after 7. We're starting a little late. Traffic was heavy, and but that's what it is. So now let's begin. So we were talking about transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. I was thinking that was the minor estate because basically the Sister-KB Trust Act of 1666 in England, and they're referring to that here, I think.
I would agree because, number one, the word for transporting in legal terms means to take to a penal colony.
Yeah, well, right. And in common law, there's no such thing. Transportation is unknown to the common law. I've seen stuff that said that.
And then beyond seas, if someone is a sailor and they are known to be aboard a ship as a seaman or as a passenger, going from one port to another, then they are not beyond the seas, they're on the sea. On the sea, in a ship, or on a ship. So when they took the colonists, accused them of a crime, and basically said to the man, we'll let your wife and children suffer without you here. We're going to try you over in merry old England for whatever it is we trumped up against you. How would that sit with most of us?
Well, it's going to be a kangaroo court for sure.
Not only that, imagine we don't like being sent to jail for 30 days without trial. Imagine going to England. And that's what they would do.
Take you weeks just to get there.
That's what they would do.
Who's doing the sending?
The king. This
Okay,
is,
that's assumption that we have a king.
no, listen to
This
me.
is the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
We're going back to the Declaration of Independence and discussing the reasons why we wished to separate.
Okay.
Well, we're going in through what the Declaration of Independence is all about, the words, because the words are everything. Because and you haven't been here for a lot of this, Bill. We're talking about the organic law. Okay, if you go to the Office of Law Revision Council, the U.S. Department of Justice website, and look up organic law, it'll be the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, the Northwest Ordinance, and the Constitution. So there's 4 documents that actually constitute the organic law of this country, not just the Constitution. And so, and we have to understand that. And so then what are in these documents and why are they important? And that's what we're going through right now.
Okay, and I would have an immediate response to that.
Okay.
And that is, you're putting the problem on top. And you're saying, how do we get rid of the problem when all we do is keep it, putting it up on top and supporting it, building it up, making it strong, when the current system is lousy. It's ruined.
Well,
everything was on top.
You know what a lot of people say is that I don't know why the Russians can't use our Constitution because we're not using it. So the problem is that we have a wonderful Constitution and we're not using it. Okay,
Absolutely.
we're not holding their feet to the fire.
And so the question we should have is why have we lost the Constitution? The Constitution created the free market.
Absolutely.
There would be no free market without the Constitution.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
we
it's
now-
more than the Constitution.
now-
It's the organic
Now,
law.
now wait a minute. Now we've lost the Constitution. We don't have a Constitution we're using.
Oh, we still do. It's still there.
No, the paper is still there. The usage, the real part of it, the part that the courts and the
They
lawyers
still
use.
follow the Constitution. But
Is that what Biden did?
well, what they're doing is they're using the Commerce Clause. They're a bunch of liars, thieves, and pirates, And
But
so,
slow
but
down.
most of the people in government still follow the Constitution. They still hold it up as
That's what I'm gonna talk about tonight, is what we're doing now.
Oh, so you're doing this meeting tonight? I didn't know that.
That's the reason
I thought we were doing
no,
this meeting.
No, that was the reason I
He
came
put his
tonight, was to talk about what we're doing.
Oh, so you're talking tonight? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't know that.
basically.
You
But-
didn't tell me that,
but-
Derek.
I didn't know it. I didn't know he was doing it
but
either.
Here's the deal. That is because we don't know. I've been talking about what we know and what we believe are two different things. And I'm identifying what we don't know. In fact, we don't know what we're going to do tonight. Because you got Bill here.
Well,
Let's
we
screw
were-
everything up.
Yeah.
Well, we thought you wanted to come to the meeting to hear what was going to be
Yeah,
talked
that's what we
about.
thought. Now, we like your comments.
Yeah, which I do. And then you say, shut up.
No,
And
we
then
don't
I
do
shut
Well,
up.
we
that.
haven't said it
No,
yet, but we
Yeah.
might.
Give me a couple minutes.
We don't say shut up, but we act as though we've said that.
Maybe.
And that's where that's at.
But
And
how,
that's why-
do you know that?
Huh?
No, no.
No, I believe that. I don't know
Yeah.
that.
We have people online.
Mhm.
This is being live streamed on YouTube.
So
I
this
didn't know that.
this is not a private meeting per
See here?
se.
We can edit it.
This is
No,
this
but
is
the
my
point is
YouTube
that
channel.
they're
It's being
listening.
live streamed right now. There's 8 viewers, and right now currently.
And they've been following along with the
With my outbursts.
no,
Well,
yes,
whatever. We don't mind your outbursts because you know, having a different opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes it expands our mind about
Right.
what's
It's okay to have those thoughts, but we need to have a central focus on what we're trying to accomplish tonight.
Right.
And so now that I'm informed of that scenario,
Now you know.
now I
Or you believe.
join that crowd.
You believe it.
And you can,
Hope you
you're
believe.
welcome to interject if you have a thought about any of
Oh,
the,
well, you'll know I have thought about
But if you want sometime, we can do a live stream for you. And you
I
can
don't
present
care.
your material and thousands of people on
The
YouTube will see
the
it.
reason I don't care is because it's not me doing what I'm doing.
Okay, let's move forward. That's going to be a long one.
okay. So we're back
Okay.
on the
You want to aim
Declaration,
the camera at the screen there, Darren, please?
Okay.
Declaration of Independence
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
is the first
Yeah.
of the 4 founding documents
Right.
which are referred to under law as the organic law.
Right.
And so in order to understand how we got here, and if we want to work our way back to there, we have to go back to there and move forward in time. So we're trying to understand what was going on in the minds of the colonists, and they put it to writing about what their grievances were and declaring their independence. So we've had about 5 or 6 sessions, and we're just now getting into the middle part of the grievances that the colonists have put into writing to explain to Parliament why we were separated.
Did you go back to Roger Williams? That's a big part. You left it out there.
Well, see, you might be able to have something to contribute about that.
Yeah, so we'll have.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So you're-
because I know Roger Williams, I can't place that name.
He's
Sounds
the
really
first
familiar.
Baptist church in this country for the Indians. Became, well, go on, started
Okay, well, the main thing is our system of government and how the animation of liberty can be exercised and enjoyed by anyone who wishes to, and how to, if we wish to enjoy the animation of liberty, that we're not squelched by unlawful government, and how to tame government.
The thing is that the founding fathers was really only 3 to 5% of the people that fought the War of Independence. And well, I know it wasn't that many people. So all we need to do is educate a bunch of people and have them on point and know and understand what's going on and how to defeat it, and we can defeat this whole thing.
Okay, except that you need to make sure you're understanding what it is you are defeating.
That's true.
And you're not defeating the government, for instance.
No, you're defeating the enemy that's
No,
trying to take over the government.
you're defeating the knowledge of what people have.
Maybe.
And we're not going into the knowledge.
It's
of
all
what
by
people have.
fraud and deception. Everything,
Absolutely.
all of their power is by fraud and deception.
But that is life. That's what the power has given them down here is emotion.
That's true.
I've written a book about emotion. What emotion is.
Okay.
Emotion is a big part of life, and it's very dangerous. But I won't go into it yet. I mean, that's
Okay, but I guess what I'm saying though is that if you want to do an event, a live stream about your book, we can do that. Just not today.
yeah.
And we can schedule something like that, and we can talk about it, and you can talk about it on YouTube, and thousands of people will have access to it, and who knows what will happen.
Well, that would be great. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Not tonight.
And
But
that's-
tonight
So
we're
let's
talking about
focus
this.
on, try to follow along with what we're talking
with
about
your schedule.
in
What's in your schedule is what we're not going to get.
we are trying to tie our thoughts and comments into that type of
Behavior.
communication. The reason we're here is to discuss the first of the organic law, the first document, which is the Declaration of Independence, the founding of the country, the United States of America.
But it started way before that.
We understand all that,
Yeah.
but how far? Have you read the Federalist Papers?
I've gotten involved with them to a point.
Exactly.
But
So
I
we can,
forget.
we can talk for thousands of hours just about the Federalist Papers.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's just stay with this for right now.
Yeah.
So we're trying to give these people who might not know some of the things we're aware of, we want to share that information so that they can then begin to not be as ignorant of those types of things that are in the Declaration. Most people have not read the Declaration recently, and some never, the whole thing. So that's what we're doing. So we're going line by line, word by word, and we're down to where, actually, before we get to transporting us beyond seas, I wanted to go back to for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury. Because when the king and his men would deprive us, his judges, would deprive us of benefits of trial by jury as a colonist, they then would transport us beyond seas to be tried for those pretended offenses. So not only would they not give us trial by jury here, they would take us there and tried in the Star Chamber courts with judges who were at the beck and call of the king. So this is how difficult life was back then, and why
Well,
we wanted.
And if you read, I have this Tomlin's Law Dictionary, 1835 edition. You read in there, and you read some of the definitions. What you see is why people were fleeing Europe, because it was a tyranny. It was the Vatican, and they were just doing what it was tyrants big time in Europe, and that's why people came here in droves. They came to a new country in hopes of getting away from all that shit.
Religious freedom, civil freedom,
Right.
economic freedom. So we are now talking about the transporting us beyond seas. I made a few comments and the fact that the offenses are pretended, and that's what they do to us with their statutes. They make up a meaning the police and the prosecutors, the law enforcement and the prosecutors, the law enforcement and the bar members pretend we committed an offense. And then they deprive us of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. And most of us here have suffered that at one time or another in our lives because we want to breathe and live free. So the question becomes, if we're back at the same spot, kind of, how did we allow ourselves as a country, as free men, to be hoodwinked, to be back to where they're executing the same exact moves on us as they did prior to the Revolutionary War?
The same thing, right?
Same thing. So it's kind of like if we were in a battle against a particular type of boxer and we knew he had certain moves, we could then learn to defend ourselves and then punch him back and defeat him. So that's the purpose of this series, is first to learn the other side's, the enemy's tactics, and then to defeat those tactics, so they don't have the authority and power. So then, Glenn, if you will, when you get a moment, I would like you to go back all these four, the beginning of the phrase. I want to go back and see what the phrase was at the beginning, so that we can kind of give everyone a little bit better way to follow this.
What, the preamble you mean?
No. Just go back up to where the king was doing something.
Actually,
Where does it go? Where does it start? Where it talks about for transporting us, for imposing taxes. Prior to that,
it's
he.
a list of grievances.
So he, the king.
He's erected a multitude of new offices. He kept among us in times of peace. Standing armies, he's effected to run to the military.
Right. So the for begins.
Acts of
after the-
pretended
Right,
legislation.
so this is all under.
Right, that's a
Right.
colon, so
So
then
go-
this
so
is
basically
why
that-
it's pretended legislation.
Okay, you can see that on here.
Yeah, but so why the quarter?
That didn't go back. Was it frozen? That was not moving. Freeze warning, it said start soon. Well, that could be hot. This was not moving when you weren't present. That's why I was able to follow. The online was following it actually, but it's not you. Your screen's moving online. There's 13 guests currently listening in. Hello, everyone. Feel free to tell us what state, what land you might be on. That way we can kind of get an idea of how far our reach is and what. There are some people waking up. Learning about these things.
Somebody's gonna stop casting.
So, let's see, based on the comments, we're going to restart perhaps. Well, I'll just talk a little bit about why my current understanding from my experience, I noticed in the chat, there's some people chatting about arrests and unlawful this and that. And so I'll just discuss my current understanding of what happens. What jurisdiction maybe we should get the gentleman outside. So we're going to go get some technical support for this that we're all watching here. But my comment would be that I learned during the process of my challenges with the legal system that all arrests are conducted in municipal jurisdiction. I don't care if it's a murder or a jaywalking ticket. It's all in maritime municipal jurisdiction. And that is, this is my understanding, so take it for what it's worth.
That stays up there.
This is affected by the fact that most people walking around as citizens.
Okay, that's the relation. Right.
Most people are walking around as citizens of the United States, some by choice, some by fraud, and that is the basis upon which the presumption of guilt is attached to our bodies. They use the all caps name, and when any word is written in all capitalized letters, it indicates one or two things for sure. Number one, it's commercial. Number two, it's dead. There's no life in it. And number three, in order to have any action done upon that thing, a bar member must be, in their legal system, must be there to affect the movement of that thing or cargo, for example. So, when they, okay.
It's necromancy, okay? It's satanic. It's necromancy, and I've actually had judges admit that they're holding a satanic religious.
So how we defeat that, because obviously their gun that they, and their handcuffs and their squad cars and jails they're being acted upon by some people who obviously aren't dead.
So these four items are basically a list of.
Yeah, see the colon, you're right, the pretended legislation.
Right. For he's affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power, or no, here's combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. And then this is a list in support of that statement.
So we should probably go on the road and insert, invent those fours for about 5 spaces.
Yeah, let's do that.
So, just
Yeah.
I'm not sure how far down. So last session we talked about the acts of pretended legislation, giving his assent. So the people who are persons of every state through their legislatures are giving their assent to legislature's act of pretended legislations. We the people don't know we're people. We're allowing ourselves to be classified as persons. Those persons, not we, not us here in this room, but others who are voters, they vote for people to pass laws, legislation, statutes, which are then acting upon us. That's what they're attacking us with. And the persons are basically subjecting themselves by their agreement to being part of the legislature. And that's what's happening in the states.
Okay, so this is a list in support of this statement right here. See, I never looked at it this way, and this is very enlightening.
That's what we're here for. Northeast private information share is coming up. These types of things could certainly happen in your own life if you visit us there. Coming up in April, we'll be in New Jersey, where you can enjoy the
Beach.
seaside.
Life's a beach.
We'll be there for 1 to 3 weeks. You can come for one day or a couple weekends. So the large bodies of armed troops, all the police tend to be armed, and they're large bodies. Now, here they were talking about quartering the actual troops in the homes of the colonists. We had to open our homes then at the risk of being fined and or arrested if we said no, or possibly murdered if you resist. I mean, just resisting one of these gentlemen on the side of the road gets you shot and killed.
Yeah, no shit. Plus, they were spying on the people. That was one reason they were staying there, because they couldn't talk openly with their own family in their own house.
Good job. That's good. That's a true statement. So then, for protecting these criminals in government by a mock trial from punishment for any murders that they would commit. I was going back because it was...
Yeah, we kind of bounced around a little bit.
So, yes, the mock trial punishment for the many murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states. And Glenn, didn't you say you filed charges for attempted murder against local and municipal police officers?
Yeah, I think that's why they don't want to talk to me now.
So, that was a very effective means upon appealing it.
Well, we have a right to resist unlawful arrest with lethal force if necessary, and they're required to produce a warrant. And when you demand a warrant and they don't produce it, and so the argument is that they intended that I exercise my right to resist their unlawful arrest with lethal force if necessary, so they'd have an excuse to murder me, just like they did the guy in Utah.
They're instigators.
That's right.
please give us a reason to kill you.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
That's right.
that'll just make everyone else further be afraid of us.
That's right. That's right.
Local, municipal. Now, not all cops are bad, not all law
No,
enforcement.
no, that's true. Some of them are decent people, but you don't know when you're getting stopped on the side of the road. And invariably, there's YouTube videos of cops that get fired for not making their quotas and shit like that. And so, anyways,
So,
but they do screen them for low intelligence and a propensity for aggressive behavior. A good example is say there was a guy. This is called versus New London.
yes.
City of New London. There was a case in Connecticut. There was a guy that had a master's degree and wanted to get a job with the police, and they refused to hire him because he was too educated. And so they don't want you being intelligent. They just want hired thugs.
And someone in the chat said he's being forced or she is being forced to defend himself or herself pro se, and it's taking my life slowly, murdering.
Where are
me.
you seeing that chat? How you got that?
Hooked up to the enlightenment.
You're there, and you're picking that up? Really? That's interesting.
So, yes, and that is true. They are murdering us slowly, and that is exactly why we do what we do here and others all around the country, sharing information on how to defeat these criminals who are unconstitutionally acting upon us and uncovering the means by which they do it and the antidote that we must apply for them to surrender themselves, wave the white flag when they run into a free man or a free woman. So the next phrase is cutting off our trade with all parts of the world. He was choking off their revenue, their profits, for imposing taxes on the colonists without their consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury.
Trial by jury means the jury conducts the trial. Transporting us, that's what we talked about. We started talking about that. Transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, which is talking about the minor estate.
Correct. It's not it's about consent.
And that is yes, this. That is necromancy, and that's the minor estate was created by the Vatican with the Sesta KV Act of 1666.
For those of you who might feel overwhelmed, this is one of the reasons why we're doing the organic law in order, because rather than jumping around, if we build block upon line upon line, precept upon precept,
You got to start with foundations.
we'll be able to better understand all of the factors. So I learned to understand all this better by putting myself in the place in the time frame, the chronology of the time and place. So this first organic law, the first founding document, the Declaration of Independence, there was no Articles of Confederation, there was no Northwest Ordinance, and there was no Constitution of the United States yet. So in order to comprehend everything, what I learned to do better is to study each document by itself and try not to bring in other knowledge I think I may have about the other documents in order to kind of have more fun and cause it to become learn it in a better fashion. So for abolishing the free system, I don't know which Glenn, you're from
That's got to be talking about Canada.
Yeah, but which province, the whole thing.
Well, at that time there was no Canada, and this is why I find in the Articles of Confederation it says Canada can join anytime they want. There was no Canada. There was an Upper Canada and a Lower Canada. Lower Canada was let's see now, was Quebec. Upper Canada was Ontario. Was what is is now Ontario, but it was smaller, because they didn't expand the boundaries. But anyways, so Upper Canada was Ontario, Lower Canada was Quebec, then there was New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and so those were. So it's one of those.
So of course, there were French and Indian wars. There was 50, 100, 200 years prior to 1776 of goings on.
Right.
And so this next line here that we're talking about, for abolishing the free system of English laws in the neighboring province, obviously the king had acted upon those northern people.
It's all supposed to be common law.
Establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render, I love this line, so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies.
Right, and that's a dictatorship. That's what they're talking about. Absolute rule is a dictatorship.
So also the king and parliament were taking away our charters. So he basically was welshing on his agreements. We came over here and began to build and tame the wilderness, and those land charters were basically about, he was taking them away. He basically arbitrarily would say, all right, I don't think we're going to let you have this charter anymore. And that's one way that Roman Catholicism was brought to New Jersey in government, was when Mary Queen of Scots in 1701 or so said, unless you give me back the government, let me run the government, I'm taking all the land. That was her threat.
Yeah, but you can't do that.
Thought you could. So you know what
Well, they got lots of troops and soldiers and
you know what
shit.
the Quakers did?
What they do?
Done. You can have the government. They weren't going to lose the whole state of New Jersey, which was two states, East and West Jersey at the time.
Yeah.
The northern part, the eastern part was the Tories. The western part of Jersey, West Jersey, near Philadelphia, down to Delaware and halfway up the coast, that was the Quakers. So there were two tribes, East and West Jersey.
Yeah, but so the question I have is, didn't the Quakers were conscientious objectors to the war?
No.
No? Okay,
They
good.
said, if you're threatening my wife or my family,
I have a right to defend them.
that's all they said. We're not going to hurt you, but if you come and hurt us, it's on.
Yeah.
And
Good, good. So they probably regretted letting her have the government then.
well, no, what happened? Yes, they did. And then what happened was why I discovered all this by being assaulted by New Jersey legislatures. And I tracked back what happened and why. In fact, when 1776 happened, in July 4th, the government, the group there said to all the colonists, go make your own charters because we're declaring independence. So you need a charter for your state, your colony. And do you know that they banned Catholics from serving in government in 1776?
Really?
And that was true up until 1844.
Was that like in all of the colonies?
No, New Jersey.
Not just New Jersey?
They remembered, because what had happened is from 1701 or 4 to 1776, the Roman Catholics
Right.
infiltrated government
Right.
using the mixture of the king and the Vatican to do what they want to do.
Well, and that's what we have today too.
And that's what we have today.
And we have the Masons. The Masons are tied to the Crown and the Vatican.
And we're not anti-Catholic, but we are if they go against the Constitution. We're against anyone that goes against the Constitution.
Yeah, right.
So
Absolutely.
they have to submit at some point, and that's
This bill has something
somebody has to say.
Well, to add to what you're saying, I can add a part to it, which you're not including. And that is the Constitution and the Founding Fathers. Bill of Rights, the first Bill of Rights. What does it say? Can you look that up real quick?
What, the
First Amendment.
yeah, well, we're not there. Well, okay, sure.
Because
I have it
we're
right
talking
here.
about what,
First Amendment is speech, freedom of
Well,
speech.
he's concerned with
Right
the,
petition.
he's concerned with the
going to the very
religious
first,
aspect.
most important one,
Congress shall make no law
slowly,
Religion.
respecting
big word,
an establishment
another big word,
of small word.
religion. But respecting is a verb, it's a possessive verb, and it's used to say, this is what this sentence is about. Respecting.
Yeah, it covers a huge amount of stuff.
But now the question is, why has that changed? And what I'm here for is that change. Why is there a change? It's very important to include that in what we're discussing now, because it is a direct part of it. Respecting is the key word that is left out. Because when anybody refers to the First Amendment, the first clause of the First Amendment, they talk about the establishment, what? No,
The exercise.
the establishment, the establishment clause. There's no such thing as an establishment clause. An establishment is a noun. It's not a verb, not a possessive. Establishing, ing, makes it what the purpose of that is all about. That's the First Amendment, the first clause in the First Amendment, which was the most important part of that, of the founding fathers. They were all deists. They did not believe in Christ. Thomas Jefferson thought Christ was ridiculous. Two people. But that was our founding fathers' beliefs at that time. What were they in the 1700s, late 1700s? This is what they had established as being important. So we want to get in this great big Constitution. The first sentence, the first part of the first sentence, the first clause. The first clause says, government shall not, yes.
Excuse me, I have to interrupt. I'm going to tell you exactly what it says. It doesn't say government. It says Congress
Right,
shall make no law.
right.
So before we continue, let me make one short comment. That one of Glenn's Northeast private information shares, one of his first or second ones, there was a man from Rhode Island, and he said to me, are you aware that Massachusetts, the state of Massachusetts, established religion up until 1818? From 1776, they had an established religion, and people had to pay taxes to that religion. Did I know that? I said, no, thank you very much. I did not know that.
Really? What was the religion?
Congregationalism.
Okay, but does that matter? Is it in the Constitution?
No, that's why they had to finally correct it, because all the colonies agreed to this Constitution shall be the supreme law of the land.
Right.
So over time, and that's why New Jersey, at its founding of 1776, women and black or colored folks could vote
And all that?
and own land, be freehold.
Right.
But why did that change in 1808? I'll tell you why. Because in the Constitution there was a deal that said the importation of slaves was only good for 20 years. There's a phrase in there that has to do with it.
Right.
And it's exactly 20 years from 1788 to 1808.
So the importation of slaves, so I don't understand how that,
There
that
was
means
a-
after 20 years it's no good anymore, the slaves
They
can't
could no,
come in.
they could no longer import for free. There had to be a tax in it. So somehow, New Jersey had a Camden, there was a slave market, they would import slaves to a free state because it wasn't prevented for 20 years. So they would import the slaves there as well. They had a slave market, which I never, they don't teach us any of this.
Yeah, no joke.
So the point being, so back to your comment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
Now, wait a minute. An establishment. An establishment is not a verb. Respecting is a verb. They changed the clause. Everybody knows the establishment clause, the establishment clause. There's no such thing as an establishment clause because a clause has a verb in it.
What would be your solution to follow the Bill of Rights properly today? What would need to be done to make it fit with the first comments that are made in the Bill of Rights of Article 1?
It would be to follow the Constitution, not a created fantasy that just came out of the political era.
Okay, so what's going on today that you feel is violating the First Amendment?
Okay, the first
It
clause.
says the first clause of the
First
First
clause,
Amendment.
the
It
first
says Congress shall make. Tell me a law that
Congress did.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
What we're discussing is what it means, the meaning of the Constitution. And the meaning of the Constitution is, first of all, you've got to know who made the Constitution, and that would be the Founding Fathers. That would be Franklin, or not Franklin, and the Founding Fathers. Now, the Founding Fathers were not Christians. And they had the most important thing to them, what they thought at the time.
I would have to object to that statement because there's evidence out there that numerous ones were members of the Episcopalian Church. And
But the
things like
ones who made the Constitution, who made the first clause, were not religious people.
I find that hard to believe.
They were deists.
That's not religious.
That's not religious. That's why I say they're not religious people. They had a belief. All of them.
Well, deist believes in God, doesn't he?
That's what a deist is. Dia is a God. They believe in one God
Right.
only. And they said they do not believe in Jesus Christ. Thomas Jefferson and, I was going to say Ben Franklin, I like his name. Thomas Jefferson and
Okay.
others have said that they do not believe in the I don't have the terms in front of me, but they did. I have it on my computer that they do not believe in Christianity. Basically, just overall, they don't believe that Jesus was two people, was a God and man.
Okay, so how would that relate to the Bill of Rights, which is
That's the Bill of Rights. The first clause in the Bill of Rights says Congress shall not pass,
shall make no law
shall make no law
respecting.
respecting. That is not what is used by the government.
Okay, let's assume you're correct. What is the cure? Just give us your baseline, because I want to get back to.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Let me
yes.
say,
What's the one thing you only have?
all of my solutions
Yes.
are never to be translated to something we're going to do right now. This is something that's going to take time. It's going to take a learning, like in my book. Learning is what life is about. We're here to learn.
What's the first thing we
And we
the people
don't
listening
do any
need
certain
to?
thing. There is no certain thing. That's why we're here together, to talk about what that's going to
Is
be.
Congress making? Is there a law today in your mind that Congress made respecting an establishment of religion?
Yes,
What?
that's what the lawyers and the judges and the people, that's all they know. They don't know that a word respecting is in there. And that's what I'm all about, is what the people don't know. We're saying, why is this being done? Because of stupidity. I told everybody how stupid they are.
To some
Because
extent,
everybody is stupid.
We agree.
And they don't
That's why-
understand
that's why
that
we're listening.
respecting is the key word. And if you can't understand respecting is a key word, it's left out. And you do it by common sense.
So that's a
But
good
yes,
point.
it is, because we have establishment clause. There's no such thing as an establishment clause.
And so probably the bar members made up the word establishment clause. My
Absolutely.
question, okay, so let's stop here.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to ask Glenn to make one comment about this, and I'm going to ask him a question, and then we're going to proceed. The question I have is, if it's true that they're conducting a religious ceremony in these courts, what could we do as we the people under Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion to bring a case due as they're violating that. Congress, through the allowance of the bar to do what they're doing with the judges and the bar members and the prosecutors, is there any way, and this is just for
Actually,
food for thought.
he's got a point.
He's
I
got
know,
a point
that's why
because they're masquerading as a religious ceremony.
It's the Vatican.
That's what they're doing.
It's the Vatican.
You got a good point.
Okay, so
Establishment clause is wrong.
we understand. We got
But
it.
it's what the lawyers, that's what the judges,
We
that's
got-
everybody
we
uses
got
Yeah,
that
it's a
too.
religious ceremony.
to
I
make it a
agree.
religious
So
ceremony.
how do we, the last part of the Article in Amendment 1 says what? Petition.
Petition the government for redress of grievances.
So we have a grievance. They, the government, Congress, passed a law respecting an establishment of religion called the bar, called judges and prosecutors with their fake religion.
And their minor estate.
And their minor estate.
It's
So-
necromancy.
so how do we-
It's satanic.
How do we formulate
It's
that?
the Vatican.
How do we
You
formulate
petition.
that in a grievance?
By leaving out the Vatican, or leaving out the religious thoughts.
But you have to
of any
petition
kind.
it.
Okay, so how do we petition Congress to obey this?
They do not understand, they've got to be intelligent enough to understand what the problem is. And they don't understand what the problem is.
All right, so we'll work on that. We'll get back to
You,
you.
you,
on
you,
that.
That's
you
a
keep
good
it
point.
as a
That is
good
a
angle.
very
He was
good
good
angle.
on
Yeah,
that.
that was
That's a
good.
good point. I'm going to bring that up.
We
Yeah.
heard you. We heard you. Good. And then we're gonna all.
And I will keep bringing it up.
Okay, but
over
now-
and over, because
yes.
you never understand what I said.
What makes it
Well, I think we do.
I think we do.
Well, I think you could,
No, we understand it.
No, we get where
but
you're
I
going.
don't know.
Okay. Well,
Remember
we're-
I said we don't know? I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. It takes a lot of time. Learning is number one thing.
We think we
And
understand what you're trying to express to us.
And this
We
is the
believe
first,
you.
this is the first time you've acknowledged that you've learned something.
No, we always say we learn
No,
from you.
The drilling down you did today was excellent, and I'm sure there's going to be some people who are listening online
Yeah,
that are going to add to what you just said. So we'll talk about it. But let's continue. That was outstanding. Thank you. Let's proceed. This point is duly noted. Article in Amendment 1. Congress has made a law respecting an establishment of religion, and it's called the court system.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
And so Glenn has been saying the very same thing in a different way.
That's
So
right.
now with your contribution tonight, he's going to take that information and put it in his next lawsuit. Right?
I'm probably going to put it in this one.
But what I add to that,
One more thing.
I have one more thing. I don't know. That's just one part, one small part.
You look healthy tonight. I'm glad I picked you up for this meeting. Went out of our way to make sure you were here, and your contribution is noted.
And I appreciate and I respect you guys because I've been looking for you guys for a long time.
Wednesday nights,
Okay, but I'll never figure out how to get here. It's
well,
too
we're going to
hard.
have to make arrangements.
Well, we can pick you up.
What's your age
We're
right
not that
now?
far.
My age right now, at the end of this month,
Do you know it or believe it?
no, I know it.
Okay, go ahead.
I know that.
Okay.
There are certain parts that you know.
Okay, go ahead.
I know my birth date. I know my name is Bill.
Are you sure? Okay, but go ahead.
So what's your age?
What's your age?
My age, I am in my 79th year. In 20 days, I'll be in my 80th year. But I will be 79 years old. Right now, I'm 78
I
years old.
understand. We understand the point.
Let's
You're
move
in your
forward
80th
to
year.
the
Okay,
But
that was
following
excellent.
how it
He
works.
started.
Because
Okay.
it's important to understand how it works.
Yeah, no,
People
but-
don't understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's proceed. Could you read? Thank you. That's what I need. For taking away our charters. Okay, and altering fundamentally. Now, the reason I highlighted some of these, this is my own personal work that you're viewing that's available to anyone. I made highlights of certain colors that impacted me, and also bold letters. There was reasons that I, at the time as I was going through it, like for example, people there is a small p, meaning common law. The yellow were things that had to do with government, perhaps. So we're on altering fundamentally the forms of our government. The king and the parliament, they were hand in glove. The parliament was hand in glove with the king. The parliament thought, later on in this document, we're going to find out that the parliament together were ganging up on the people of the colony. They were passing laws that their order followers would then come over here, their bullies, they would love bullying the people because they had the king's authority, just like the cop on the side of the road or the taxman or whoever.
And that same thing is happening today.
Correct. And so we are learning to defeat these tactics because the colonists, through the organic law, actually defeated the king. And Glenn, please, I'm going to have to ask you, I know you want to get back to your lawsuit already.
Well, no, I was just thinking of something that you would find interesting. The king in 1778,
Yes.
okay, the king, Parliament passed an act that said that from and after the passing of this act, the king and Parliament of Great Britain will not impose taxes in North America or the colonies except for the regulation of commerce. Okay, that's like closing the barn door after the horses get out, right? Because in 1776 we told them to get fucking lost.
And ex post facto. Yes.
Anyways,
So that was excellent.
I was looking for that. I was going to pull that up
I
because I
thought
thought
you
you'd
were-
find that. That would contribute to the discussion.
Thank you. I do remember you're right. I do remember you mentioning that before. It's excellent.
I always like to. That's like closing the barn door. I like to rail on that one. But anyways, so
So
anyways,
altering fundamentally the forms of our governments. So isn't that what, frankly, the word fund, every word in here was written for a reason.
yeah.
Altering, which is a continuing.
Jefferson wrote the Declaration.
Jefferson. Fundamentally, hasn't everyone says, why are we where we are? It seems like what we learned of our government should be is not. But fundamentally, there's a complete change in reality. And so here it is, we're altering fundamentally the forms of our governments. We need to have government. No one's here is against government. We want good government, honest government, just government. And the founding fathers, oh, I know what I want to do. Please give us one of your favorite quotes. Jefferson, two enemies of the people.
Yeah, Jefferson said there's two enemies: the people,
Repeat it twice.
criminals, and government. Let us bind the second down with the chains of the Constitution so they don't become the legalized version of the first. And that is exactly what's happening.
Read that first line again.
There's two enemies of the government: criminals and two enemies of the people: criminals and government.
Stop right there. Just repeat that again. Let it sink in. I need to let it sink
The
in.
government is your enemy.
There are two, and they're criminals.
Two enemies of the
Two
people.
enemies of the people. Criminals
and
government. We can all agree with that. Two enemies of the people. Criminals
And government.
Proceed.
Let us bind the second down with the chains of the Constitution so they don't become the legalized version of the first.
So we want to bind the second, which is the government,
Right.
with
The chains of the
the
Constitution.
chains of the Constitution. Let's think about that. The Constitution, according to Jefferson, had chains attached to it, which its purpose was to do what?
Limit them.
Limit, bind with chains, not rope.
Chains, that's right. Hard to break a chain.
With chains. So if we, the people today, which is what we're attempting to do, is to bind the government with the chains of the Constitution so they don't become, so they're not criminals. They'll become criminals if we don't bind them with chains of the Constitution.
And they have become criminals.
So So the chains of the Constitution. Now think about this. We're only at the Declaration of Independence. This is 1776. 11 years has to go by till we get to the Constitution that has the chains to bind the government that we, the people, agreed to create in order to make the nation strong and protect it from invasions from without and convulsions. So there was always that problem, in fact, with the whiskey tax and all that. So nothing new under the sun. We have to learn these things. We were never taught it because it would allow us to be free, and the government did not want us to be free. So it fundamentally altered the forms of our government.
Doesn't want us free.
And the monarchs, and the bankers, and who else?
Yeah,
For suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. I did research and found out that the amount of lawyers that are legislators in the New Jersey legislature right now is enough. It's not a majority, but guess what? It's enough. Always get more.
So it's not more than 50%?
No. Nope. I went down, it took me a while. I had to research every single one on the bar site to find out what percentage. And now it was interesting because now when I go to certain meetings and I hear them speaking, I'm like, okay, I know you're a bar. And that gives me a little bit of extra information on how to understand. So one of the gentlemen online says there is no, quote, government, unquote, only officers and offices. There is no government, only offices and officers. So the king, okay, look, let's not go back. What's happening? How are they how has the bar, my question would be, is the Texas state legislature, we're on Texas right now, but the state of Texas has a legislature, have they declared themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever? Can we say the Texas criminal code, Texas penal code, with codes, regulations, etc.? Is that what they've done here?
Well, we're under martial law here in Texas.
So the legislature, the state of Texas, has declared themselves invested with power to legislate for all the people running around the land of Texas in all cases whatsoever.
To some extent.
To some extent. Good. So he has advocated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. In the old days, with even as far back as Dragnet and Mayberry RFD, we were told protect and serve. That's the function of the police officer. But here, back in 1776, the king has advocated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us.
That's exactly what we did. They're doing it today.
Exactly what's happening. Their tactics have not changed. They've conquered the world using these fraudulent means of binding us with unlawful constitution. He has plundered our seas. I'm not sure they're still doing this, but he has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people.
I would say destroying the lives of our people by populating the prisons.
For sure. Ravaged, I would say, the coasts. I think this was related to fishing villages and towns. So I don't know, plundered our seas. Was he plundering ships or was he plundering the fish? They felt he plundered our seas.
Plundered our seas.
Ravaged our coasts, meaning South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, Massachusetts. I know they burned Boston, didn't they? They burned down Boston. I thought they burned Washington. Well, at this point, they had burned
This was the king in this.
the king and the parliament prior to 1776 and destroyed the lives of our people. We know that one week away from your family in jail is destroying the family, the relationships, the community. The king is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny. Are there large armies of foreign mercenaries? I would say in a sense, yes, because Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, they're foreign to our jurisdiction. They're coming outside where we supposedly bound them to the up to 10 square miles.
They have to come from some other place, like we're talking about, where they come from.
Well, it's their jurisdiction. When I get hired as a police officer here,
Have to be a U.S. citizen.
you have to be a citizen of the United States, and you're essentially working for Washington, D.C.
What if what you're hiring as a police officer is corrupt? Now, you're assuming that a police officer is not corrupt.
No, we're not assuming.
No,
Well, okay, that's what I'm saying.
No, we're saying by
We're
definition.
assuming they
No,
are corrupt.
by definition they're corrupt
yeah.
because they're foreign.
Because of, right.
My friend Charlie, God rest his soul, passed away, and he would go into a courtroom. My understanding is he never lost. He didn't win every time, but he never lost. And what he stated was, the first thing he would state in court, he would raise his right hand and say to the court, I come from a foreign jurisdiction, the United States of America. He put it on notice, judicial notice. He was arriving from a foreign jurisdiction to what that court is representing, which is Washington, D.C., today's Washington, D.C., corrupt Washington.
And Austin, Texas.
Excuse me.
Austin, Texas, also among many others. The corruption in the state of Texas. Ken Paxton, his advisor, called me on Sunday. Also, at the same time, the mayor from Bedford called me on Sunday. Because both of them were free on Sunday. It wasn't the same Sunday. That's what they call. And they call to say they're scared of me. Because I called them. They have a Texas, 3 telephone numbers you can call the hotline to Texas. Look at the phone book and the hotline to Texas. You call them and you get Ken Paxton's office. I talked to all 3 lines, different people. They were able to get together as the 3 people and discuss what we discussed. And I spent at least a half hour with each one of them. And then I got a call an hour later from a private line that said, showed my telephone, on my telephone, private line. I answered it, and I said, can I help you? And they said, they are with the state of Texas. And I asked, and it was the secretary. Her name was, she gave me a false name, Samantha. She gave me a false name. I had it on my notes. And she said, she was the boss of the 3 people I talked to. And she's calling me back to talk to her, according to my phone, 58 minutes. And we had a long discussion about what was happening. And I said, are you familiar with the bill of, with the, free market? You know what the free market is, how it works, what it's about. She says, no. She's the advisor to Ken Paxton. And she said, no. And I explained to her what it was, how it worked, and I had it all together. And she said, well, she was going to find that out and argue about back and forth. But it ended up with, at the end of the conversation, she said, well, good luck, was her answer to all my debate. Well, good luck, which means I was right, but she said you didn't have a chance to get anything with being right. So that says a lot. And Samantha was her name. I can't get her name now. And she showed where the real problem lies. It's not with Republicans and Democrats. It's with the bulk of people that haven't learned, and we're here to learn. And we're going downhill. We're not learning. If we're learning, we'd be going uphill. Right now we're going down. We've been going down for the last 20 years.
Is it the function of government to train us?
The function of the government is to pass laws, and that's it. It's not to train us.
But their laws only apply to their government.
They decide what they're going to do for punishment for somebody who breaks the law. That's basically what the government's for. They tell you how to spend your money. They tell you that's why I asked you about the free market. What is the free market? She had no clue. And she is the advisor to Kim Paxton. That was her title on the internet. Samantha Smith is what she gave it the other day. Her real name is Samantha, is Tamara Smith. Her real name is Michelle Smith. If you look up who his advisor was at that time, that's who it was. And that's who I talked to, and that's who I got when I got my information. So much information, and I had all of it.
Good. Well, they responded, and we're here continuing to address the emerging
Yeah, but
dictators.
we're going downhill.
I don't agree. I think we're going uphill.
Who's we?
We the people.
Okay, so let's get back on the topic at hand. We're talking about the Declaration of Independence.
Right, and the king, he is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty.
And perfidy.
And the reason I didn't know the meaning of this word, that's why I put it in there in brackets. It was the
Deceitfulness,
definition.
untrustworthiness. So it's war crimes.
Circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, deceitfulness, circumstances of deceitfulness, scarcely paralleled. Can you say lie at every turn? Scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. The king has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. Was that related to the impressment of sailors? Is that what that was about?
They would be sailors, but it sounds like it's forced in conscription.
In the army here on the land or out on the seas? I think
Probably on the
I
sea.
think it had to do with when I was on a British ship after I had lost my freedom. It was like, here's a gun, if you don't fire, we'll kill you.
Yeah, what I'd probably do is say, okay, no problem, and not say anything, and then once I had the thing loaded, I'd fucking shoot it, and let them kill me. Take out as many as I could.
And there are incited domestic insurrections amongst us.
It sounds like a false flag operation.
Sounds like a false flag operation. And he has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers
So he's conspiring with the Indians to go and make war.
the merciless Indian savages whose known rule, and then they don't have, hasn't there been some evidence that the CIA or whoever has combined with enemies of the state, of our state, our true state here in this land, domestic? False flag operation.
Well, there was a guy by the name of, what was his name? He was asked to blow up the Murrah building in Oklahoma City. And he
Timothy Bay.
Timothy
no,
McVeigh.
no. Timothy McVeigh is blamed for it. There was another guy that he had worked for the CIA and he was asked to blow up the building and he refused to do it. So they blackballed him and they had him in jail for a while and then all sorts of shit.
Wasn't he up like a murder? I think I heard
Something like that.
Yeah.
Snodgrass, Cody Snodgrass. I'm guessing that's probably a pseudonym. You know, I mean, if he was coming out saying that, and he was asked by the CIA to do that, then he'd probably have a pseudonym. But he would also know how to disappear too.
This is true.
Probably.
Okay, next line. In every stage of these oppressions, we're coming up to the crescendo. By the way, I had read that Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence with the purpose of it being spoken in the town square.
All right.
If we read this out loud, you'll notice that there are certain tactics of composition, why he picked words and had certain cadence to these. He was trying to get it so that the people in the town square would continue to listen. It wasn't just to read, it was to be spoken in the town square. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Can we say filing lawsuits that don't get accepted? Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Any comments from anybody on those lines?
I've got the definition of tyrant according to John Locke.
Sure, so let's do it. So it's here for the record. Kevin Snodgrass was his name, according to the I don't know who the headless horseman is. So he said they said Kevin. God knows. One of the bandits. I don't know the answer to the question who or what is the headless horseman in the legend of the Sleepy Hollow. You're welcome to advise us, or shall we look it up? We certainly do. We have internet. We have and on the 6 guns. So we're looking up the definition of tyrant. Feel free to cut and paste that into there. Remember, like I did, feel free to do it in brackets and the best version. Right after the word tyrant. Actually, you know what? Do it at the end. those of us who
He wrote two treatises of government. He was a well-known author of the day. Tyranny is the exercise of power beyond right, which nobody can have a right to. And this is making use of the power anyone has in his hands, not for the good of those who are under it, but for his own private separate advantage. When the governor, however entitled, makes not the law, but his will, the rule, and his commands and actions are not directed to the preservation of the properties of the people, with the satisfaction of his own ambition, revenge, covetousness, or any other directed passion. It is a mistake to think this fault only in monarchies. Other forms of government are liable to it as well as that. For wherever the power which is put in any hands for the government of the people and the preservation of their properties is applied to other ends and makes use of to impoverish, harass, or subdue them to the arbitrary and irregular commands of those who have it, there it presently becomes tyranny, whether those that use it are one or many. And that's John Locke, 2 Treatises of Government, Book 2, Chapters 18, Section 199 and 201.
Glenn, someone says you are totally right. I'm assuming it's talking about Cody. So, okay. We're ready. Smash that. Well, that's fun. Don't forget to smash that like button. What I do is I actually forward Glenn's channel to people so they can sign up. And my local city council has become quite familiar with Solomon.
Is that right?
Yes. Let me get away. Force them to. Glenn has actually spoken in front of city council once or twice. I asked him to make an appearance, and you get 5 minutes of free speech twice a month. We like to take action locally. One of my friends here, 3 of us are going down to Bedford City Council this coming next Tuesday night to give them a piece of our mind and educate them on some of the things we're talking about tonight. We have found success. What happens is most people don't think that government, city council people have much interest in freedom, and they don't have a whole lot of brains perhaps, but I give everyone the benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise. And once I've given them enough information, and then they act based upon that information and act improperly, now I know they've proven themselves to be warring against me. Because of their oath of office, and one particular, my purpose for going there, I'm a total stranger to this city council, and they asked me, well, before you can speak at our city council, you have to tell us what it's going to be about, so we can put your name on the agenda and what the purpose of your speech is to be. And I said, okay, I gave them my name, where I'm from, and I said I'm going to be talking about constitutional comments, and I'm going to be talking about the gold fringe flag as it relates to Army Regulation 840-10, Section 2, which I believe indicates that a gold fringe flag flying in a city council chamber is against Army regulations. The improper use of the flag, which makes it unconstitutional because it's a law from Congress, which means anyone who permits it to fly in city council is in treason. That's where I'm coming from. And I can tell you, I didn't have this information back a year or 2 ago about why it was treason. But over the course of time, as I would never stand at city council for the Pledge of Allegiance because there was a gold fringe flag there, and in my 5 minutes of free speech, I would explain to them why I'm not standing. The reason I don't stand is because that is not the flag of the United States of America. That's the flag of the United States. It has a gold fringe. It's maritime. It's commercial. if you will replace the flag, I asked them, I would say to them, why are you not standing and pledging allegiance to the flag out on the flagpole, turn around 180 degrees? So twice a month, they would act like dummies and salute the flag when the real flag was behind them. And I would ask them that after they did it, and I wouldn't stand up. One day, a gentleman was a veteran, and he almost came to tears because I refused to stand. And he was telling us about all the veterans that gave their lives for that flag. And when I got up, I said, "Excuse me, sir, they didn't give their lives for that flag. They gave their life for the flag outside on the flagpole. If they will even just give me my flag, you can keep the flag you have there, but just put up my flag so I can stand." Do you know what they did? After over a year, I went to a city council meeting, and the flag was changed. It was still wrinkled because it wasn't hanging with the gold fringe. It was wrinkled. It had no gold fringe. And Glenn and I did we happened to happen during the course of one of our Northeast private information shares, and I said, "Glenn, let's go take a field trip down to City Hall and go inspect that flag up close. Make sure we know that it's a good flag," which we did. And the last point about that journey was we discovered that the city council chambers, the door was closed, but it was unlocked. Why did I say maybe this is unlocked? Because if anyone of we the people want to get together and assemble under the first article and amendment, it's there Monday through Friday. We're just leaving it vacant, not gathering, not assembling. So we're at fault, like you said before. We're stupid. I didn't say stupid, right? Ignorant. All right. So anyway, I wanted to share that because it's. I encourage people to go to their city council, their county commissioners, and whatever's on your heart and mind that you feel will enlighten them, give them the benefit of the doubt, and bring them into subjection to the Constitution, binding them with the chains of the Constitution. But if we haven't informed them, which is what we do, and Glenn thankfully got at least a local city chief of police fired. He got the in New Jersey, where I'm from. We also got the state commissioner on Department of Health fired for what they did. And we haven't figured out how to jail them yet, but we're working.
A good thing to talk to them about would be sovereign citizens. Take that House Joint Resolution in there and that article from that District of Columbia judge.
Please pull it up for our friends online.
The article?
Yeah, if you want a copy of it, if you put your email or send an email to Glenn Fern at his email address and ask him for this if you want it. It's a short piece of information, but it's, we the people, we didn't make this up. Someone sent it to us, and Glenn got a hold of it. He sent it to me, and now I've shared it with a dozen people, including my home city council. So we have to find out when city council meets, and then they give you 3 to 5 minutes, and we talk about anything you want. So if you want, we can send you, if anyone wants the script of what to say so they don't have to know this information, we can actually type it out for you and give you a 3-minute speech. We'll be happy. Somebody said if McDonald's was the country, if McDonald's was the country in kindergarten, they would be teaching us to be McDonald's employees and pledge allegiance to the golden arches.
So this is Harold M. Stevens, who's Chief Judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia.
That's not the one I was you can talk about. It's the one.
Oh,
that's a quick.
Okay, that's another one.
That's a quick thing.
That's another one.
And we are coming up to 20 minutes to go.
I know.
We have about 10 minutes and we're going to wrap it up. And we're almost through Declaration of Independence, the first of the 4 founding documents. It's referred to online as organic law under Congress. It's the founding law of our nation, the organic law. The first first document is the Declaration of Independence. The second document is the Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union of 1777. The third document that's noted as our founding documents is the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, which gives common law rights to all people on all land of all the United States of America at all times. But if we don't know that, because we were taught in school, many of these things no longer were active because of the Constitution. It's a lie. We were ignorant of the truth about the process of why the original three documents still can be utilized to retain our freedom and bind down the government. So here, Glenn found this. I was attacked by the local police because I had the gall to say we were studying sovereignty of the people and the Constitution, and they put me on the FBI watch list. True story. Just for that.
And that's what I'm all about. What you're talking about. In that you're saying we can find a solution to that. And I'm saying we cannot. And we should not. We're going in the wrong direction. We need to do that.
Let me ask you this. Would you say that I've made some progress, we the people have made some progress by the fact that they've replaced the gold fringe flag in city council chambers with a non-gold fringe flag?
And I'll answer that with the fact that we are here to learn, not to know. And you're asking me to say, I know this. I don't. We don't know. This is key. This is the whole thing is about.
Did city council learn?
It's not the city council. We got hundreds of city councils.
My city council. Let's start with my city council. Where
I
they're
know that's what you're saying, but I'm saying it's not.
It's not important. It's not critical.
Okay, so this is House
Hold on,
Joint
we only have
Resolution.
5-10 minutes. We'll pick it up next time.
This is House Joint Resolution number 183, dated May 3rd, 1940. And you can look it up, you can go online, or I'll send you the PDF file. It says, whereas some 2 million young men and women in the United States each year reach the age of 21 years, and whereas it is desirable that the sovereign citizens of our nation be prepared for the responsibilities and impressed with the significance of their status in our self-governing republic. Therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives, they're having a citizenship day, which is just a proclamation, a joint resolution.
And I actually redid this research, and they converted it to Constitution Day in September down the road. So this is still active, but I like the fact that the point is it uses the word sovereign
It
citizen.
uses the words that Congress recognizes that we're sovereign, that everybody's sovereign. And then there's this article by this judge of the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit.
Roughly 1948.
That's 51, actually. So this is an article by Harold M. Stevens. This is published with the National Bar. National Bar. Let me see where I got that. I cut that here. Chief Judge Harold M. Stevens, Chief Judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, and American Bar Association Journal, Volume 37, Number 4, April 1951. Citizenship, the real profession of every American. And he talks about how we're all sovereign citizens. And talks about the obligation of the bar in respect of that. It says here, if our sovereign citizens are not informed upon such subjects, how can they be intelligently participate in the determination of pertinent national policies? Does our popular education, supposedly the source of the literacy necessary to the intelligent exercise of their duties by sovereign people, fail to inform them effectively concerning the structure and function of their government? And then he talks about the bar
It's like a 4-page article. Talks about everybody's sovereign. And that's what Congress said too in 1940. The very heart of our system is in the wise exercise of their sovereign power for the people. This is split, so it's hard to read. If that, I can't tell what it says. If that ever, or I'm not sure what that says. If that something. Ever, it could be ever. It's split. Means feebly the body politic is threatened not only with the effectiveness of its functioning, but in its very survival. Oh, if that heart, right, power by the people, if that heart beats feebly, the body politic is threatened, not only in the effectiveness of its functioning, but in its very survival.
And that's the way it's supposed to be in the States. That's the way you survive. Not blowing it, messing it up, being it wrong.
Right, and learning.
And learn. That's what life is about, learning. That's my emphasis in my book. Last page, I am learning what life is about.
So, you're right. I mean, even Cliff High talks about that, is that if you're not making mistakes, then you're not learning. If you do it right, then you're not learning anything.
That's right. Very good.
When you make mistakes, that's when you learn.
Mistakes are good.
Anyways, so this is talking about conversation. That's a sidetrack. Let's get back onto the topic here about the Declaration of Independence. So if you send me an email for anybody watching, send me an email, engineerwin@yahoo.com. I'll send you the PDFs for these documents. Sorry? Oh, you want to go back?
Nor have we been wanting in our inattentions to our British.
Let's
Thank you, Glenn. It was an excellent presentation. Okay, we're going to try to do every Wednesday for a bit. I'm asking them to take a Wednesday off every once in a while, like every 7th week, so they don't wear it out. I'm not sure if they're going to do that yet. So we have warned them from time to time of attempts. So the colonists were warning Parliament. They were sending letters over there, and of course Parliament said how dare they by their legislature to extend. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by the legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. That's what Charlie used to do. He would go into any court, and he would raise his hand, and his first comment, he would say, I come from a foreign jurisdiction, the United States of America. That put the court on notice. He's not from Washington, D.C. jurisdiction, which is their jurisdiction. Therefore, they had no jurisdiction over him or that matter. That's kind of the same thing we're all doing. That was his way of dealing with an issue. So these colonists were warning, they were warning him. It didn't do much good because
Well, it says we have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. In other words, we're fleeing the tyranny that's going on in Europe. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence.
It was interesting when I read the Federalist Papers while I was locked up 3 times. A genius, but it takes a long time to get through them, but it really helps to comprehend where they were, convincing the colonists why they have to agree to this Constitution, to bind the government that they were government. And that is that they said in there, one of them stated that this never would have happened to make such a great nation had it not been for the fact that most of the people here were essentially white Anglos, British, like they were people from Europe that had the same background. They didn't think that it would happen, that the common kindred was so this here they were saying in the Declaration, we had ties of our common kindred. That's what made us so strong, and of course that's one of the reasons why we feel that various infiltrators who are trying to divide and conquer, rather than saying become part of us, the melting pot, they're saying, no, we want our own religion, we want our own culture, we want to establish ourselves on the land. But we were kind of all together. Okay, so let's finish with they have been deaf.
They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. Consanguinity. The fact of being descended from the same
I
ancestor.
had no idea what that word meant.
Yeah, no joke, eh? Consanguinity, the fact of being descended from the same ancestor. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war and in peace friends.
Let's talk about this and we'll finish and stop here. Let's read that again. We must therefore, my view of this is, number one, they denounced the separation. They did not want to separate from the British from that whole. They liked how it was, but the king just refused. The Parliament refused to allow the freedom to prosper. Probably had a better deal if they would have just gotten along with it. So we must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation. So we're saying it's necessary to separate, but we're denouncing it, and we're holding them, meaning Parliament and the King, all the people in England, all the British brethren, as we hold the rest of mankind, all people, enemies in war, peace friends. So we're discussing in some of our groups the fact that every morning when we wake up, we have to realize we are at war.
Right.
We don't want to have to. We don't want to have to accept that fact. It'd be nice to think everything's copacetic, but it's not. So we have to be prepared. Okay, go ahead, Bill. You have the last comment. We have 2 minutes left.
Okay. You're talking about keeping things going back 300 years using their laws, law of the ocean, the seas, and whatever. But we have to keep in mind and remember this, that you're always looking for progression, not stagnation. Stagnation turns into a slump. It smells. That's what's happening now. We're trying to maintain the stagnation of what we've already created. And we haven't learned from that. That's the key word, learned. We're not learning. Learning means progression. That's why they left the amendments, the ability to amend the Constitution. We have never amended the Constitution the way it should be amended. And it gets amended through smart people like the Founding Fathers. Perfect example. We need to find the Founding Fathers who everybody have right here. But it's going to take a few people. Founding fathers were a few people, a tiny portion. They weren't everybody. We don't have to train everybody. Not everybody's going to learn. Everybody's going to have their own whatever. We've got to learn how to do that ourselves as the new founding fathers.
Correct.
And use that to develop, put our strength in that change. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting more and expecting results, it will not happen.
Question
That's the
for you.
definition of insanity.
I have a question.
Do the same thing over and over again.
And that was the key part of my first book, Theory of Non-Relativity, was Einstein. They say Einstein said that. If you knew what my book said about Einstein, you'd realize why I have the theory of non-relativity. Because Einstein was an idiot.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that. You're going to get your own time to say whatever you want. Get prepared. Make it make sense. You'll have the floor. But I have this question for Bill, who's in his 80th year, right?
Well, next
Couple weeks he'll be in his 80th year. My question to Bill is this: is there adequate foundation of what the founding fathers gave us to return to a free man? Yes or no?
no.
I say yes.
I say yes. I think they were inspired. I think it's brilliant.
But they put in the amendments. They put in the amendments, and we didn't use the amendments. We used the amendments for a few items.
We're not using any of the Constitution.
Well, no, but we need
We
to
gotta hold their
redevelop
feet to the fire.
because there is
Most
no
people don't have a clue about what the Constitution does.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying is the problem.
I agree.
We don't know what it is.
They have to
You're preaching to
witness
the
it.
choir,
They
Bill.
have to
But
wit- they have to-
that's the change, and I've got some good changes that will help us out in the future. I'm for the future, not for the past.
Correct. However, my experience leads me to believe, and my studies lead me to believe, and Glenn also is agreeable, we've discovered that what the founding fathers wrote, and one of the ways I discovered this is many of the things they dealt with in the Federalist Papers that had to do with going back thousands of years dealing with republics. Republics I had never heard of, they were talking about because they were learned men. And they put all that knowledge together and said, how can we form a republic that will survive the wickedness of man? And that's what they did with the founding documents. That's what they did with the organic law. And with that, folks, Glenn, say goodnight.
Thanks for watching, everybody. The founding fathers said that this Constitution is only suitable for a moral and righteous people, and it's wholly inadequate for any other. And so I think that we need to have good people. But anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. We're signing off.
Got your chance bill coming up.
Well,
Online and everything.
No, that won't happen. See, I was doing it his way. It's going to be done my way.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna let you get the floor.
And what
Get it all together.
It won't be one night. It'll be continuous development.
Well, I can help you set up a YouTube channel if you want.
Well, I don't want it. Because I'm not good at that. I'm good at this other thing.
Yeah, I got a question. Okay,
I can use your help
Carrier 360.
to develop my progression. And it will occur gradually over